Hi, everyone. Kira Schaefer here, and I'm with As You Wish Publishing. I wanted to go over what traditional versus self-publishing is, because I think this is one of the biggest, I guess, misunderstandings, at least in my line of work. A lot of people don't understand, the difference. So I want to go over that today. And so basically, we're going to look at some pros and cons of each, and I'll kind of go back and forth. But really, what the first thing we need to know is specifically what the difference is and how you can tell right away if you are self-publishing, because you could go out there and you could see something like a name, like As You Wish Publishing. We're a publishing services provider, right? And so there's a lot of publishing services provider that have the word publishing in their title or in their name. Or they could be a vanity press and they have the title, publishing title in their name, but they may not officially be a traditional publisher. So I want to make sure that you know the difference as you're kind of looking around and you're really wanting to connect with where you're wanting to head with your book and with your work. So the first one is, when we look at traditional publishing, they're going to pay for everything. They're going to pay for your copy editing. They're going to pay for your formatting. They're going to pay for the book cover design, and they're going to make decisions on those elements as well. Okay, so they're going to decide how they want your book edited, how they want it formatted, how, based on mainstream, what people are looking for right now. It's also highly competitive. And there are some elements you may still end up paying for down the road, like some travel expenses and things like that. And then, of course, you pay back your advance before you start to see any royalties. So when it comes to just pure money, traditional publishing is going to be a route where it could be highly competitive, but you don't have to spend any money to get it done. However, in order to get a potential publishing contract, you're going to have that book be pretty much above reproach. You're going to have to make sure it's clean, it's copy edited, because people know when they're looking at their manuscripts and looking at people's manuscripts, they're going to know within the first 2 pages, usually, sometimes faster, if that traditional publishing company is going to take on that manuscript. Okay. And then with self-publishing, if you pay a penny to get it done at all, it is a self-publishing company. So a lot of times, and I'll even tell you the least side of it, where you were like, oh, that's that too? Yes. So if you have to pay for a minimum run of your print book, that's self-publishing. So if they say, okay, contractually, you have to buy so many books, that's self-publishing still. So keep that in mind when you're looking around at different places to get your book published, because you will be able to tell the difference much better now, I think. So traditional publishing, some of the pros and cons. One of the cons, of course, is going to be you basically don't own your book anymore, potentially. You don't own your book, so you can't go and take it anywhere else or do any other things with it. It may be in your contract where you can, pull it in, do other programs or do things like that. That is possible. But it also may not be. So you want to make sure you read that fine print. The other thing with traditional publishing is you get a fraction of the amount of the royalties. So you might get $1.25 per book. However, with traditional publishing, they're going to have a bigger scope. They're going to have a really nice, already laid out pipeline of where they can get your book and where they can sell it, because they're not going to take your book on and pay for it to get done if they don't have something in place where they say, yes, that's a book that we can definitely sell. If they don't feel like they can sell your book, they're not going to do it. So, and they're not going to take it on, and they'll know within the first couple of pages if it's right for them. That doesn't mean you can't shop more traditional publishers. You can absolutely do something like that. And then when it comes to things like buying or having to pay for marketing and things like that. That would be mainly like travel expenses. It might be some other things, like if you want some extra things, you might have to pay for those types of things. You might have to pay for your print copies as well, even though they are a traditional publisher. They don't necessarily just give you your wholesale copies. So those are things to look out for and have awareness of when it comes to traditional publishing. They're only going to market that book as long as it sells. So that's something to keep in mind as well. And that also opens up this idea that you just keep writing. You know, your first book leads into your next book, leads into your next book, leads into your next book. Now, if they haven't gotten the money back from the advance they paid you, which is usually between $1,000 and $3,000, which you do have to pay your taxes on, if what happens is they may not hire you back again, or may not have you do another book for them if the advance doesn't get paid back. So that's something to keep in mind as well. But honestly, with any type of publishing company, anything that you might do, you are really the engine that makes it run. Yes, they have a bigger funnel. Yes, they have pipe laid and pipe work and groundwork laid down, but you still got to be the one saying, I am awesome, look at my book, no matter what you do. All right. So with self-publishing, we talked about, if you pay a dime, you're self-publishing. Okay. Even though that company might say we're a publishing company or independent publisher or anything like that, a lot of vanity presses will not say they're vanity presses. That's something to make sure you have awareness of. And they will give you low royalty amounts, percentages. They're going to give you some cases pretty high print costs as well, which is really not good. So be very, very careful. You should be getting 100% royalties after, print books are made, or, after all of the other fees and things like that. Like, for example, if you were doing it through KDP, you would want to make sure that you're getting whatever that book, that highest percentage. I think they do 60%, which is good. But if it's a regular, indie publisher, you should be getting all of your royalties. You should be getting low print cost. So keep that in mind. And you should not have to order a minimum amount of books. Okay. So those are 3 big things to take a look at. Also, sun, moon, and stars promises. I'm going to make you this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get you're going to make, $20,000 off of your first book. Just let them believe that for themselves. It is a game and it may not happen. All right. So I'm being a total bummer right now. I know it. But I want you to be very aware and very cautious, because there are some fantastic self-publishing services and publishing services out there that will absolutely help you do what you want to do with your book. I believe we are one of them. We are authors first. We really do everything that we possibly can to make sure that you're successful in whatever way that you're wanting to be successful. We do not accept all manuscripts. We do not accept all books. We put it through a vetting process. We make sure that this book is going to accomplish the goal that you're looking for. And we also don't publish fiction books. We only publish nonfiction books because we know how to position a nonfiction book to actually help you sell your program, sell your packages, to sell your services, which is something that we're very, very passionate about. So we're a little bit more niched in that way. So when you're looking at self-publishing, you got to make sure that you're working with someone who's doing whatever it is that you want to accomplish with your book. So one of the things that Todd suggests often is, pick the publisher or the self-publishing services company that matches what it is, what your intention is. If your intention is to make thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, start by shopping your manuscript with traditional publishers. Then if for some reason it doesn't come back, they don't say, hey, we want to do it or whatever, or they reject it, start looking into some of these self-publishing options. And then, help yourself out by building a platform around it. So speaking of platforms, when we look at traditional publishing, they're going to be looking for a platform of tens of thousands of people. Okay, so you already have that in place. You're already someone in your field that people look to and go, that person knows what they're doing. Now, it's not to say they won't hire your manuscript, but if you don't have a platform, they want to know that you are as passionate about your work as they will be passionate about your work. So when you self-publish, you could have a platform of hundreds of people, which can be, at first you're like, oh, but I only have hundreds of people. Yes, but these are people that are interested in you. They want to know what you have to offer. They're wanting to read your book. They're wanting to advance with you. So when I think about those kinds of people who are, like, let's say in a self-help industry, if within your book you help guide them back to your website or back to your program or back to your product by putting in different elements, there's a great book out there, and of course I can't remember the name of the author, but it's fantastic because within it he says, go to my website and take this quiz. And then what he's doing there is he's also getting email addresses. So he uses it all in tandem. And what you can do with your book is the same thing. So even though you might have a list of hundreds, it can grow and develop and become more. So when we look at books from a publishing standpoint, we look at how is the long-term benefit going to be for the reader? What is it that author wants to do with their book long-term? Some self-publishing companies go, okay, well, we'll take care of all of these things for you. And then they kind of go, see ya, bye-bye now. And we're willing to work with our authors as long as they're wanting to work with us, because they trusted us, we trusted them, we are in it together, and we're wanting to make things happen and really accomplish beautiful things. And so, when you're looking for your publisher, I would say if you want to, like I said, if you want to try to get it out there in a big way that's really mainstream, try the traditional publisher first. You're going to need your manuscript done for a nonfiction book. For a fiction book, you don't need it done. You need a concept, and maybe even character development and some other pieces as well. But for a nonfiction book, you need your manuscript done, and that's when you would take it and shop it. You could also get an agent. Again, you need a platform of thousands, tens of thousands potentially, for an agent, and you could still get rejected. So we say, okay, traditional versus self-publishing. Which is better? The one that's better is the one that you feel the most confident in being able to get you to your goal. I always recommend people shop traditional publishers and just see, hey, let me just try it. Let me just put it out there. And when they come to me and they say, well, I want to make tens of thousands of dollars. Okay, I'll say, shop traditional publishers first and then see what happens. The next thing that generally would happen is they would come back and say, well, it didn't work out that way. So then we look at self-publishing packages, self-publishing opportunities, and make sure, again, that we can provide at least a leg up to those types of goals. I want you to know that even with traditionally published books, sometimes authors only make $3,000 to $6,000 per year. So you could essentially not quit your day job and still be a writer. Okay, so let yourself write. So again, I don't want to sound like a downer. I don't want to sound like, oh, don't do it. I say, yes, do it, because writers write in order to get clear. about what it is that they're wanting to accomplish, what it is they're wanting to do, what they're wanting to create, and because they love to do it, not because of some other type of reward. And so if you keep that mindset and you say, okay, this is where I'm going with this is where I want to be, this is what I want to do, and you have your goals really clear and really consistent in your mind, you will get there. It's just a matter of time or a matter of strategy or whatever. But I will say this, out of everything, hands down, you need a really good, well-produced book. You need a great book cover. You need great copy editing. You need fantastic formatting. You need that book to be on point. Okay? So just make sure that that's done, because when you write your next manuscript, when you start to shop that around to traditional publishers, you might get a little bit more play. So, so those are some of the pros and cons, some of the benefits. And for me, I would self-publish. And I think that a lot of people would kind of say the same thing, who are nonfiction writers, because there is so much more opportunity in it. Yes, you may not reach the million people out there, and you may not have a gigantic funnel. But if the purpose of the book is to inform and inspire and help people get to a new place in their mindset or their realizations, then I would definitely self-publish over doing traditional publishing, because not only can it, they could water down your message, but they could also, it could also take away from what else you want to teach, or what you're teaching could be relatively fringe. And so that watered down message would actually hinder you into taking the next step in your writing development. So, like I said, not saying don't do it. I'm saying, yeah, absolutely do it. When you get your manuscript, start to shop that thing around and see who feels that it's interest, there's interest to them. If they say to you at any time, well, yes, but you need to pay for your first run, or yes, but you need to pay for copy editing, that's not a traditional publisher. They should be paying for everything. A self-publisher or self-publishing services company, like As You Wish Publishing, we are going to do the work for you to make it beautiful, and even do a launch if you choose to add that to your book. And we're going to give you all the support that you can possibly ever need, probably more than you need, because we have a private group where everybody just hangs out and just says, what can we do to support each other? So, so those are that's that traditional versus self-publishing. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really, really appreciative. I hope that you take some of these ideas, some of these thoughts, and bring them to your world of writing and authorship. And I will see you again soon. Talk to you later.